No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. We go racing today around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4.
No more testing, no more practice, indeed. Today we start our journey to see if we can take the VF21 to new heights, bring HAAS back to glory. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Steve, this is Purple Tiger Racing, and today we're going to see if we can take this car where it doesn't belong on our road to glory. Mick and I managed to not qualify dead last. That's a plus.
With Anthony Davidson, who's joined me in the commentary box for today's event.
It's good to be back, Crofty. Let's hope for some good racing today. We can't know at this point how competitive
large task at hand today.
But hopefully nobody is able to run and hide. We want to see these drivers pushing to the limit all the way to the checkered flag.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Bottas, Perez, Charles Leclerc, and Norris. Sainz,
Usual
Ricciardo,
suspects
Gasly,
on the
and
lineup
Fernando Alonso.
for the grid.
Vettel, Tsunoda, Esteban Ocon, and Stroll. Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, George Russell, and the Tiger, Mick Schumacher, and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to
So
the
I
track.
think our goals for today are going to be finishing the race and not finishing dead last. I think I'm going to go with a 2-stop here. And we'll see if this is enough fuel. Five red lights and off we go on our road to glory. Not a horrible start. Managed to make it around turn 1. And so far, I'm doing better than Mazepin did in his debut. Good start from Mick and a couple of nice dive bombs. And we are probably not where we belong so far. Probably help if I stayed on the racetrack. But as we get some temperature in the tires, the car starts to grip up, runs a little better. These tires seem to be the best option for this car. I think they get about 6 to 8 decent laps out of them. And then the rears seem to start overheating. We got Max, Lewis, and Valtteri in first, second, and third. But as the tires get a little older on this particular car, they start getting a little hot, and then the back end starts to slide a little bit. And then when you start going into high speed, hairpin style turns, I've noticed a lot of slide toward the outside. I don't know if you'd categorize that as understeer or oversteer or no
DRS
steer.
will be enabled this lap. You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
I'm not really sure, because I didn't really notice it throughout this race, but I had this car doesn't lend itself to a whole lot of doing anything right. And I noticed most of the time the AI isn't willing to give up its line, which you're going to see here. Now, I didn't know this initially, but after looking through the replay and adding the replay, we're making our way towards the turn 10, and George hits me, and I didn't initially feel it.
Caution, the
But I
virtual
got
safety
that
car has
message
just been deployed due to a buildup of
George
debris
was
on the
out.
track.
And the car
VSC
didn't
ending,
feel
we're going
right
green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags.
for however many laps. It might have started feeling better after we put another
Green
set of
flag.
softs on. But if you look here, it kind of looks like I had side pod damage to the right side of the car. So Jeff didn't give me any indication, and that didn't pop up. I was looking at my tires, as I think I wanted to see what I started off looking at tire wear, and then I wanted to move to see what my tire temperatures were.
Check your MFD for
Got
a
the
new
elbows
strategy
out
option.
for Latifi. Finally get by Nick. Which, as you're gonna, if you're looking at the mini map, because I wasn't able to make my way around Nick sooner, there's quite a gap to Giovinazzi, and that's pretty much
There's been an incident on track resulting in
in
loose
this particular
debris.
car.
Fortunately, the
even in
marshals
this
have managed to clear it
early
up in
stage of
time,
the
and there are no
race.
plans for a safety car right now.
It's an unsurmountable task to accomplish. Although I did find some pace throughout the race. Let me go on board with Nick. He pretty much gets mugged by Alcon and Latifi. I'm pretty sure he dinged up his wing here, because I think he immediately dropped pace, and then he ended up going into the pits. But I didn't follow him, and I should have into the pits. I should have stuck with his onboard a little longer. And here comes Ocon. In my opinion, I think the Renault sounds really good. There he goes. It's a really good sounding engine. Him and I battled throughout this entire race. Well, I wouldn't really say battle. He mostly he did most of the overtaking. I did a little bit of the defending. Did as best I could with the equipment I had. As we bring in some improvements to the car, I think it'll operate a little better and we'll be a little bit more competitive. Somehow managed to go wide there, and Ricardo gets through. And they go bye-bye.
There's been an incident on track, but officials aren't looking to push for a safety car right now. Just be careful.
I did my absolute best to edit this down. I had about an hour's worth of... Oh, here we go for our first pit stop. I thought we were originally going to go on to the first set of mediums, but it turns out that the tires lasted longer than expected, and we were able to change our strategy by a couple of laps. I think we were supposed to come in at lap 8. And on top of that, we put on another set of softs. So we had slightly better pace than we would have. It took a few laps to get the car going right, as you can see from that coming out of the pits. That's a little better. And at some point, Raikkonen had started developing an issue.
Okay, gap ahead is 2.7 seconds.
I think around lap 9. And he started dropping like a stone. But anyways, I was saying I did my absolute best to edit this down from about an hour and some change worth of the actual race after a handful of flashbacks. There we go. Goodbye, Raikkonen. Not this time. But yeah, I had about an hour and a half, I think, of initial footage and some extra footage from flashbacks. As I tried to do this race multiple times, and I actually had about 3 hours of outtakes plus this particular race footage. And I managed to knock it down to 30 minutes. Oh, and then there was an addition of, I think we're going to go passing in on the outside. Yep, nice clean pass. In addition to the hour and a half of race footage, I had about 40 minutes
between
of
yourself and the car
replay footage to go through to try and get it right. So, first time with a large editing project. Hopefully it looks okay. As we get deeper into the season, I think the editing will improve. I haven't decided if I'm going to go more commentary or commentator, but I think I'm going to end up going more commentary, as I just don't think I could talk for 30 minutes straight. And as I was saying earlier, and I'm not, it really only was so far that I'm noticing Raikkonen and Schumacher, but they will not get off the line and they will not move. And I know I don't have the AI up super high, it's only at 50 right now, but the car doesn't really lend itself to
A
any
new
kind of
strategy is available on the MFD.
crazy maneuvers on overtakes. Another clean pass. Turn one.
Gap to teammate
And this
behind
was
is
odd.
30.8
So I got
seconds.
2 or 3 different notifications for boxing, and then none of them worked. And I think this was actually our pit window from what would have been the first set of mediums, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But
The gap to the car ahead is 6.4
I
seconds.
could really feel these tires getting away from me. And as you can see, I'm driving all over the track. Being that this was my first actual race where I was using the wheel
Okay, clear.
and doing all the braking and shifting instead of being on the pad with, you know, whatever assists were on. Found it was pretty fast paced, and doing little things like watching the mini map to see where you're at versus cars behind you or cars in front of you was kind of a task. And just trying to read.
Release,
Not
release.
a great pit stop, but
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
yeah, keep trying to keep an eye on the mini map to see if you're gonna be overtaken by a faster car, or if you were coming into traffic. That was something that I finally started being able to do in real time, and then responding to Jeff with pit strategy changes was very nerve-wracking, but I'm sure after a few more races I'll have it figured out. I still haven't figured out what kind of a headset I want. Since I'm using a PS4, I don't know if I should look into a wired headset or a wireless headset, and if they're gonna work. So that's another piece of gear I need. I just haven't found one I like. It's not a matter of it's not a matter of acquiring it. It's a matter of finding something I think is going to work for the equipment I'm using. As like I've said, I'm using, as of right now, this channel is primarily going to be using PS3, PS4, and a Switch. I don't have a PS5 yet. I just haven't been able to come across one at a reasonable price. Money's not an issue. I just am unwilling to pay scalpers extra money just for, you know, reasons. And I don't really need it. I don't think the graphics on the PS5 for games like this are going to be so amazingly better that it be worth paying an extra $400, $500, $600. But the headsets aren't too expensive. It's just a matter of what's a good one to get for what I need. And obviously one with a boom mic would be good, so that I could talk to Jeff instead of having to press buttons. Because I think that would be safer in terms of trying to drive the car at such high speeds than to trying to figure out what buttons you're supposed to be pressing and trying to read things instead of giving voice prompts. So if anybody who watches this feels like commenting, if you have a brand you like, I'd be interested in hearing about it. If you're PS4, Xbox, or PC, I'm sure there's common, there's probably common levels of equipment that work well between all three. And eventually I will be buying another laptop, which I may actually be able to run the game off of, but even if I did, that wouldn't be until the next game came out. Because I've been looking at different laptops that were probably gaming capable that I could probably just hook up to the TV or a separate monitor, as we have. Miss Tiger has a 2-monitor setup in her office, so I could probably run a slightly more powerful laptop and the actual F1 game off that. So that's an option. Sooner or later I'll build a gaming computer. I'm kind of waiting for prices to come down a little bit, and also waiting to see if I'm any good at this. And my skill level would justify an upgrade in equipment of that level. That turn right there I just went through, I noticed you can make overtakes on that one fairly easily. Oh boy, what do we got going on here? Oh boy, it looks like Kimmy's drink system finally gave up the ghost. That's not good. First race of the year, and the Ferrari engines are having reliability issues. But as I was saying, that particular set of corners, which I'll be going through again as we come up on Kimmy's car, this right here is not a bad place to do overtakes. You just have to be a little bit brave.
Green flag.
But outside's good for doing the overtakes. Doesn't hurt if you're in a better car either. But you can do it in this car if you have a little bit of patience.
Blue flag.
And a little bit of courage. And this is where I wish I was paying more attention to the mini-map, because I almost got in the way of the race leaders, which that was completely 100% unintentional. Max got by me, no problem. And I think Valtteri got close, but I don't think he hit me. Although he did, in the race director, he did get a warning for collision, so I don't know if it was me or somebody else. And here comes Lewis. He makes it by me okay. And then these guys on hards make it look easy, and I'm barely able to go around the corner without a problem on mediums. Good times. And I pretty much from the get-go decided the philosophy on improving this car would start with aero and chassis. I don't think power is that big of an issue.
Our
the
gap
Ferrari
to the car
power
in front
units.
is 16.3 seconds.
It's not horrible. I just think everything else on this car needs to be improved. And we're going to see Valtteri go into the pits. And it doesn't look like there's any damage on that wing. He has both end plates. And he would have bumped me with his left, and it was on the car. It was on the wing. So I'm not sure if he hit me or somebody else. I didn't get a chance to look at the race director again to see where the damage occurred. He must have got... I'm assuming he
We're
bumped
leading
me.
our teammate by
That was
8.9
completely
seconds.
accidental. I tried to get out of their way as best I could. And here, Esteban Ocon's gonna come up, and like a lap or so ago, I was in the green on the fuel, and now I'm on the red. Now this was not as intended to be as sloppy as it was, but I let him through. And my plan was to keep up with him, which was not a problem, being on the mediums and he's on the hards, and stick with him and use him to pull me around the track and take advantage of DRS zones. And it was working. And then
We've only got 2 laps of fuel left.
yeah, I didn't have any issues keeping up with him on this set of tires versus his. I mean, I had older mediums and he had a newer set
We're
of
starting to
hards,
catch the
but
car in front.
he wasn't
but we
getting
need to look
away.
after
He
the
was staying
tyres.
in
We won't be
DRS.
making another pit stop.
And he was doing exactly what I needed him to do because I was more interested in finishing the race. But I thought I was going to be able to finish the race and finish the last lap, and that wasn't the case, because as soon as he crosses the line, that's the end of the race for us. And I
That's the
think
end of the
between
race. We'll
letting
see
him
you in
go
park
like
for the
that,
night.
not putting enough fuel in the car, and having issues with Mick the first 5 or 6 laps, I think I cost myself
Today's performance means Max Verstappen
several
now
positions.
owns
I
the
think we
top
could have
spot
been at least
in the
maybe
Drivers'
14th or
Championship.
13th.
Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony
No,
Davidson.
I'm going to say
Who do you
14th. I think
pick?
we could have been
Nicholas
14th.
Latifi gets my vote today.
It's time to see how things
But-
are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull take over as championship leaders.
Max Lewis and
After an event
Sergio,
like that,
1,
who
2, and
knows what the
3.
sport has
Valtteri
in
with the
store for us
fastest
next
lap.
time. Be sure to join us again
by
as we continue to
almost
bring
2
you the
seconds.
latest excitement in Formula One.
The light car, brand new tires, and a brand new front wing. That's going to put... Let's see, where'd we finish? 17th and 18th, and I honestly think I could have been 14th.
So that was an exciting race from our perspective. Let's have yours. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Yeah, Jeff did a pretty good job with strategies. Pit stops weren't too bad.
It looks like you've really been focusing on research and
And-
development this season.
The boys back at the factory are doing the best they can with what we got to work with.
Appreciate your time.
Oh boy, look at that. My driver claim went up to 2. Well, that was our first race. Thanks for watching.